During their time in office, which US president would be able to do the most push-ups? Teddy Roosevelt. A lot of people in here sleeping on Gerald Ford. He played linebacker and center for 2 undefeated Michigan teams. Turned down offers from the Lions and Packers to go to law school at Yale. Dude probably did a lot of push-ups in his day. I'd bet money on Teddy Roosevelt doing the most out of pure spite and willpower. Abe Lincoln was an absolute monster and honestly prolonged the Civil War by not going out and wrestling Lee himself. No Dwayne Ellis owned a Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho. Daft his belly would be on the ground supporting him at full arm extension. That counts, right? Probably Eisenhower. Old officer he may be, but he was still modern army and those not Marines practically live on push-ups. How did you spend your day? At work and are now waiting at a buffet for some friends. Happy, joyless, and free. Unfortunately, at my office. Thinking about David Duchovny. Went to the mall with my cousin and their BF to go to the Apple store to see what was wrong with my Apple Pencil. Now I'm out $85 so, thumbs up. Listening to metalcore. On my days off answering Reddit questions to the lifeless, drained and helpless. Gym, school. And my mom had to clean the house because the health department was here, based on false allegations and a huge conflict with some stranger. Finished finals, got offered a teaching assistantship, got offered my dream campus job for next academic year, and got to pick up a family pet to pet sit for a week before I go on vacation with some friends. Bobbing and weaving, mine is just starting. How do those unemployed people who travel all around the world do it? I was looking at a 27-day cruise from Sydney to Los Angeles for around $2,800 for 2 people. Literally cheaper than rent in either city if you're unemployed. Having done some backpacking, I can travel most of the world on under $50 a day, and around $100 a day in Europe. I've taken some long breaks in between jobs to travel, or I just work remotely. Met a 30-year-old, Swedish hippie type in Australia. Carried a traditional type of drum, had dreadlocks, and looked like he got all of his clothes in Thailand. We became good friends. His father had passed away and left him about the equivalent of $30 million in cash and properties all over Europe. His grandfather had started a pharma company which was bought out. People who say taxation is theft. How else do you props the government gets the funds for roads, military, education etc.? Hardcore libertarians believe in a pay-per-use. For example, toll roads, or getting a bill from the fire department. Or paying a police subscription, and if you don't, police don't show up if your house gets robbed. View taxes as immoral because you can't make the choice not to pay them. Whereas a pay-per-use system, you could choose to let your house burn rather than pay the fireman, for example. My problem has less to do with the taxes and more to do with where that money actually grammar. I feel like most people wouldn't have a problem if the money wasn't so poorly managed. When billions of dollars just get lost and the government says whoops so well lol. When money is going to wars people don't support. If people had a more direct say in how the money is used, it wouldn't be an issue. The road to hell was paved with good intentions. What moment in history does this quote ring true? Pushing margarine to reduced saturated fat intake, from butter, only to realize trans fats are awful for you. Eli Whitney wanted to decrease the demand for slavery in late 18th century America with his invention of the cotton gin. He hoped that the efficiency of the machine would drive down labor and eventually lead to the end of slavery altogether. Instead, it revitalized slavery for another 70 years, leading right up to the Civil War. When armchair detectives of Reddit misidentified the Boston Marathon bombers, improving the octane levels in early gas leading to major improvements in early automobiles, and moving countries away from horse-based transport with all the manure and animal abuse often tied to they used lead. The single biggest mistake in quite a while. The crime rate drop around the time lead was prohibited in gas is pretty amazing. What did everyone have 25 years ago 1999 that nobody has now? A phone book, folded paper maps in the glove box. Bonus points for the spiral map books. All their friends' phone numbers memorized. Wallets with picture holders. The need to be home at a certain time on a certain day to watch the next episode of your favorite Suntans. Edit. Haven't you guys ever heard of slathering yourself in baby oil before going to lie in the sun? We all did it back then. A cassette deck in their new car, a whole shelf full of World Book encyclopedias, being able to not be reachable and people being okay with it, the ability to drop off greet people at the boarding gates at the airport, a binder of CDs under the driver's seat, a reasonable expectation of privacy, access to a public payphone. What is actually healthy but people think is not? Frozen fruits and vegetables. The modern flash freeze technique preserves almost all of the nutrients and they are always picked when they are in season. So they are as nutritious as their fresh in-season counterparts, and more nutritious if it is not the season. Sport during pregnancy. Actually, a lot of things are healthy during pregnancy. There's just too much misinformation. If your doctor explicitly says no sport, then yes, do that. But if doctor says okay, then go ahead, doing literally nothing to decompress. Sometimes one just needs to breathe and look out a window, spending time alone, crying, taking a break, admitting when you don't know something. It's okay to not have the answer. Too many people would rather bullshit an answer than accept what they don't know. What is currently in its golden age, but not enough people know about it. Cooking. I'm 30 now and it's so easy to find amazing recipes, good cooking supplies, and with so much information I can save money on food in so many ways. Literally, YouTube is teaching me to make so many great things. Paleontology, so much tech bringing new stuff to light. Keyboards, both synthesizers and possible to get a synth that sounds identical to a $5,000 Mini Moog for $200 and a decent mechanical keyboard for less than that. Dietary options. No matter what issue you have, there's a pantry full of food that will meet that restriction and taste. A keto diet from 1999 to now. It's unreal. Board games have been having a great run for the past 10 years, tons of amazing games coming out every year. What is something seen as bad that's actually good? MJ's album Bad. Asking questions about medical treatment before receiving it. You should know what you're getting into. It's not anti-science or anti-vax or anything. When someone you really like turns you down. Ideally, you want someone who matches your level of interest rather than someone who half-heartedly dates you. Stoicism. Somewhere in the last 50 years or so, common wisdom seemed to decide that controlling one's emotions is unhealthy, that it's bottling things up. In reality, it's often an important life skill and a part of becoming a mature adult. Failure is like a strict coach that teaches us invaluable lessons on the road to success. Learn from it and watch yourself become stronger than ever. Bacteria is the one that comes to mind for me. I love the stuff. Boosts digestion, gives energy, controlling weight and many other benefits, so why the hate on carbs? What is something that 2020's kids will never get to experience? Waiting for a new episode to come on at 7:30, yelling into the kitchen that it's your crush's house and having to politely ask a very scary dad if you can speak with Tanya. And then they say, that depends, who's calling? Downloading a song for 2 hours and finding out it's a virus. I was at work the other day when our department's landline phone started ringing. One of my coworkers my age-ish, 30s, called out. I'll get it. I felt a weird sort of sad nostalgic pang. You don't hear that much anymore. Waking up early on Saturday morning so you can watch the next episode of your favorite cartoon. Calling your friend's house and their parents pick up. Then you have to ask the parent if you can talk to your friend. Lol. I had all my closest friends' landline numbers memorized. Privacy. Doing stupid things without the whole world knowing about it on TikTok. What is the safest answer when your girlfriend asks if her friend is hot? I've never looked at her like that before. Say, she's an awesome kisser. Yes, I would love you if you were a worm. Yay. Why? You interested in her? No hablo inglés. In an overly enthusiastic tone. Why did she ask about me? Can't lose. An ex pulled this on me regarding her best friend. My response, she's alright, but her best friend is damn sexy. Not as hot as your mom. Never thought about it. But did you know the Roman Empire roadways is the reason railway tracks are the size they are today? Not my most challenging wank. I literally start singing, I only have eyes for you. I'm a terrible 2 verses, the conversation is over, and she has left the room. You have friends? What movie can you watch over and over again? Groundhog Day, Goodfellas, Dumb and Dumber, Edge of Tomorrow on repeat. Catch Me If You Can, The Lord of the Rings trilogy complete version. Not in one sitting though. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The Dark Knight is a good one. My Cousin Vinny. The Mummy 1999. Spirited Away. Interstellar. Pulp Fiction. Real Steel. Snatch. The Big Lebowski. Back to the Future. Home Alone. There is no right or wrong time of year to watch it either. Mean Girls. Inside Out. The Princess Bride. Iron Man 2008. Even without the rest of the MCU, it's a perfect movie. Chef 2014. Roadhouse, Whiplash, The Grand Budapest Hotel, American Beauty, Trading Places and Gladiator, Pride and Prejudice, Wall-E, The Fifth Element. What would instantly destroy your life just by doing it once? As an older guy in the trades, fuck around with safety. I've seen enough people fuck their livelihood up by taking a stupid unnecessary chance. It's always a shame when you hear of a young tradesperson die because you know they probably don't know better or didn't work with people who were teaching them how to do it safely. Number 1 rule is come home at the end of each day, reconnecting with people who were bad influences on you. You'd be surprised how quick one can return to their old ways. Negligent homicide. I'm sure self-defense killings are not as difficult to handle as it is justified. Not saying everyone would be fine, but negligent homicide is another level. You drive drunk, text while driving, or not pay attention and smack into a pedestrian, you're going to live in a nightmare, foraging and picking mushrooms you cannot identify. I have a huge fear of accidentally hitting someone with my car at night. When did you know it was time to get tested for ADHD, autism or something else? 47 and finally going in for ADHD testing. I've been putting it off for years because ADHD. I was seeing a psychiatrist for something else and he just started asking me questions, lots of questions, weird questions. He said I had every characteristic on the checklist for ADHD, not just enough, all of them. I denied it, and then he said, let me guess, you were over-prepared for your dissertation defense but let your driver's license expire more than a year. And he was exactly right.